Did you know that smiling means people are happy? Yes. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are doing an episode of Hot and Cold. This is a video series I like to do where I talk about the best and worst music I heard over the past week, the hot being the best, the worst being the cold, some middle-of-the-road tracks as well. This week we'll be talking about any songs released between October 20th and 26th, 2019. As per usual, the songs will be linked down in the description. If you want to check out any of the songs, let me know what you think of them, and keep me up to date with new songs that are coming out for future episodes. Do that as well. First up this week with the hot tracks, the best of the week, we have two singles from Coldplay dropping. These are the co-lead singles for their upcoming album, Everyday Life. It's going to be a double LP, so not one-sided, but two-sided. It's going to be split into two parts, one being Sunrise and the other naturally being Sunset. In addition to these two singles dropping and the album announcement coming for November 22nd, we also have all the track titles being released, and I think the funniest of them all is Daddy. It's just that idea of calling Chris Martin Daddy. I find that really hilarious for me to think of. Anyways, Orphans, the first track I'll talk about here. It's on the Sunset side of the Everyday Life LP, and it's a misleading song. It sounds very happy in its major key and with its soaring chorus and glittery production. The woo-hoos almost sound like a tribute to the Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter. Lyrically, I like the track. It's providing some commentary on the 2018 bombings in Syria and the endurance and free spirits that have fought through and are still fighting through to see a brighter day on the horizon after such devastation. Orphans is really reaching up there with the falsettos. It's stadium ready, arena ready, and it's reverbed as hell. Still, I do like the tune, but I would say Arabesque is the better of the two tracks this week from Coldplay. It doesn't have as much of a shine or gloss to it with its production, but it still has a catchy, good walk-along groove being laid down by the bass and guitar. My goodness, it climaxes with one of the most explosive outros I've heard this year. The Cuddy family pitches in with horns and samples. Stromae pitches in with some vocals. Interestingly enough, Chris Martin accredited Stromae's 2013 record as an inspiration for Everyday Life, so it will be interesting to see how that pans out into this new record. But more importantly, with the song Arabesque, the sense of togetherness and unity on this track, it's meant to stand up against the Western fear of Islam, which the message isn't really portrayed through the lyrics as much as you would think. It's very minimal when it comes to that. I feel like the universal element here that's kind of tying together everything is more of the groove, even though it is nice to see both English and French lyrics being put on this song. And yeah, for both of these new Coldplay tracks, I'm loving both of them. I think Arabesque is a little bit better. And yeah, I can't wait for the new Coldplay record to come out in November. Moving on from there, another track that dropped last week that is equally misleading as Coldplay's Orphans is Kesha's Raising Hell featuring Big Frida. It's a track that sounds like it was meant to be an empowering piano ballad, but it quickly transitions into a pop and party anthem, and with it, I can't stop smiling. Next up, Selena Gomez has released two breakup songs, and they contrast each other really well. One tackles Selena's inner demons with a melodramatic ballad, and the other is high gloss with its production and goofy, kind of happy-go-lucky kind of singing from Selena. Both have solid tunes attached to them, I will say that. The vocals aren't spectacular. I've never really seen Selena as someone who stands out as a vocalist in the mainstream, but it's sufficient. Look at Her Now is definitely the more derivative of the two. It sounds like Ariana Grande, but it's still fun. Now, speaking of Ariana Grande, she featured on the remix of Lizzo's Good as Hell last week, and it's a very empowering track. It's a powerhouse duet. I mean, what else would you expect when you see Lizzo and Ariana Grande on the same song? Moving on to the middle-of-the-road tracks this past week. These are songs that I thought were okay, not great, not horrible, just something in between. The 1975 have returned to their glossy and clean production ways on their latest single, Frail State of Mind, proving that People was just a quick pivot or side note into just a completely different musical style than what the 1975 are used to. With this new single from the 1975, the narrative of social media connectedness or disconnectedness and the fear of going outside, those topics remain prevalent. They are continuing. Plenty of great lyrics on this track. I do appreciate Maddie Healy has always been very outspoken when it comes to topics like social media and climate change, and I love how he uses his platform as being a musical artist to stand for something. He speaks up for something that he believes in, and he tries to rally his young fan base around him and the band. However, it's really the tune and the production on Frail State of Mind. It's nothing exciting for me. It simply chalks itself up as yet another 1975 song, not one that I can see being a hit for them, at least out of the context of the record as a single. And we all know what happened with their last record. For me, beforehand, I didn't really like any of the singles, and then when the album dropped, I felt like I enjoyed it all together as a cohesive release. So we will have to wait for that new record from them. I think it's going to be coming out in 2020. But yeah, moving on from there, we have Mumford Sons. They are making a return with the track Blind Leading the Blind. And for this track, the banjo is making its return. However, it's heard very faintly in the background. You have to listen pretty close to hear it. Probably the best opportunity to hear it is at the beginning of the track, but then once the rock song kicks into full motion, it's kind of layered behind all of the wall of sound. And with that rock wall of sound, that kind of is the aesthetic that the band is going for. It's nice to hear them invigorate things. It kind of sounds like a blend of what their 2015 record was, something like The Wolf. Definitely more energized than the snooze fest of their 2018 record Delta. But for me, I still feel like there's something missing. It's not the drumming, because that's very fervent and upbeat. I just hope that this track grows on me in time. But for right now, it's just not really clicking on all cylinders. Moving on from there, Jet drummer and vocalist Cester has teamed up with contemporary Australian hard rock band Wolfmother to release a single. This one's called Chase the Feeling. A very standard rock song. It's very easy to indulge in if you want to be wearing rose-colored glasses while listening to this. You want to think back to the 2000s when both of these bands were a lot more relevant. Yeah, this track isn't anything special, but it's still fine. Another fine song from this past week comes from Louis Tomlinson. This one's called We Made It, and yeah, it capitalizes on what's trendy, in pop at least. We have the trap 808s and acoustic guitars, and it's okay. Wrapping up the middle of the road this past week, we have Milky Chance featuring Témé Tan. This one's called Rush. That's another French vocal feature on this one. Just like Coldplay's Orphans, but the hook is not nearly as addictive or catchy. And closing out this week with the cold tracks, the worst I thought of the past week. There's only one to talk about. This one's called Trigger by Major Lazer and Khalid. And this one just sounds like bland Chainsmokers EDM with its beat. And Khalid, he sounds as boring as usual, just like I thought of his entire record that he put out earlier this year. Didn't enjoy it at all, and I'm not enjoying this song. So yeah, there's Hot and Cold for this week. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of these songs. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're new in town. Do all that fun YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.